So now we have finished our first cycle. We go into the upkeep phase. And in the upkeep phase, we do a series of things just to get the game ready for our next cycle. So anyone who has still got their monologue token has to play it.
Do I set a scene in which...
You can, or you can ask a question. That's the other thing.
Okay. I actually kind of want to know what Grace is thinking about... like in terms of her intentions like with Thomas, I think, rather like what is she actually hoping to gain from this playing with his affections.
Oh, Thomas. I once held such high hopes for him. I thought he would be the ticket to the future I wanted. From a good family, good prospects, though those are doubtful now, I suppose.
So now we
Thomas,
all get
like the whipping boy.
Everyone gets their monologue tokens back for the next cycle.
Cool.
As the facilitator, I refresh my result tokens to 3. The next thing we're going to do is create our inner conflicts. So on this section of the inner conflict section of your character roll sheet, you will see where it says inner conflict. So when you do this, you want to create a broad conflict rather than a specific one. So for example, love and wealth versus marrying George and leaving with Henry for the continent. So have a think about what that might be. And when you know, just write it at the top of the inner conflict and also write it on the public information sheet here next to your character.
Do you think it would make sense for Grace to have something like passion versus like...
Passion versus ambition maybe sounds like it might fit Grace.
Okay, so I've got passion and ambition.
You're like, do I marry this lady or do I use her to advance my career?
I don't know. I'm going to sound this one. I think for Bernard, a lot of it is future versus the present.
Yes.
Like very much the now versus going forward.
So true.
Maybe a way of phrasing that would be like hedonism versus security.
Yeah.
So now we've created our inner conflicts. The next thing we do in upkeep phase is assess our desires. Now, at this juncture, you have the opportunity to replace your desire if you've achieved it, if it's impossible to achieve it, or if you think it's no longer interesting for your character to strive towards it. As this is the first cycle, usually you wouldn't expect to be replacing your desire so soon, but it still does give us a good opportunity to look at them and consider whether they are still relevant. I think Thomas's one is pretty relevant.
Mine's like online, but I think it'll be interesting to do it for one more cycle.
I think mine's definitely.
Yours is like basically the major problem
Thomas
of
is
your
my
life.
project.
Yeah.
So the next thing we're going to do is review collaboration. So basically that just means that we look at the decisions we made and we sort of say, hey, are these still how our game is progressing? Do we want to change anything?
I actually think in terms of tone, we are drifting a little bit into farcical, but that's okay. Like romantic, there was still a lot of comedy.
Yeah.
I just note that we also need our romantic kisses.
And the last thing in the upkeep phase is if anyone has an expanded backstory action, but those come as a result of completing inner conflicts, so none of us have that yet. So that means we are ready for the next cycle.
Nice.
Woohoo!